If you're anything like me, then you have way too many series that you're in the middle of. One of my goals for 2022 is to actually start a series and finish it without taking long breaks in between each and every book, because I forget what's happening, I lose interest, and then I've just got to reread the previous books to actually know what's going on, and that just takes up way too much time. And we all know there are way too many books to reread if you didn't have to reread them if you just continued the series straight away. So to begin with, I'm going to try and make progress and try and finish as many of these series I'm going to mention first, so that I can finish those and then start new series and try and get those done. So the series that I'm in the middle of at the moment and I would like to make progress or finish is Keeper of the Lost Cities. I've actually only read one, but the problem is it's not a complete series and I always hate sort of waiting at the end, but there are like 9-10 books out and there's only one left, so I feel like now is the time where I can just plow through, because they are middle grade and I feel like I'd be able to get it off really quickly if I just sort of spent like a month, maybe 2 months, just sort of really getting into them. The next one I don't have like physically is Saga, so I did mention that my goal for December is to read the next 4 installments, and then hopefully my library will have the next like 5, and then I can sort of finish that and have that done. It's like they're not complete, so the best I can hope for is caught up. The next one that I borrowed the first one from the library is Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, which the first book was okay, like it didn't blow me away, but I feel like the next 2-3 books, I think it's 4 books overall, it might be 3, but I feel like the next couple of books are better and I have heard better things about the next ones, so I just need to get into it. So the next one is The Great Hunt, which is book 2 of the Wheel of Time. I know that the Wheel of Time is huge, it's enormous, and so I'm not thinking that I can read all like 14 books in a year on top of everything else I'm going to read. I'd like to get maybe half of it done. And hopefully I'll really enjoy it, and maybe I'll continue even further. So we will see. The next one I don't have is The Poppy War. So I read the first one, and I know that the second one is sort of like a make it or break it sort of deal. Like book 2 was really split into 2. There's sort of like the first half is a magical school setting, and the second half is more like battle and strategy and stuff like that. So depending on how I like the second one, I might read the third one like straight away, or I might leave it like a month, but I don't want to leave it too long or I will forget. The next one that I really need to finish is the Shooter novels, Philippa Gregory. You might have heard of The Other Boleyn Girl. There's a lot of popular sort of like TV shows based around some of these. It's a huge series. They're not very long though, they're only like 400 pages, which compared to something like The Wheel of Time, it will take a lot less time to read like one book, and it's a lot less dense. It's a lot easier to read, so I really don't have an excuse. The next couple are YA series that I started a while ago. The third book's coming out or have just come out, and so I'd like to finish the trilogy get that sort of off my list. One of those is the Dreamer trilogy. The first one is Cool Down the Hawk, which I probably need to reread because it's been a while. There was quite a gap between like the first and the second and then the third. The third's just come out. I did like this book more than I liked the previous quadrilogy, the quartet, the Raven Boys series. I thought that was a bit wishy-washy, not sort of my thing, but this trilogy is more my thing, and I think hopefully it has a good ending. I haven't heard much about it though, so hopefully if we get some answers, then that'd be good. And the other one where the last, I'm pretty sure it's the last book, comes out in January, and that is the Last Hours trilogy, Cassandra Clare. These books are beautiful, and I'd love to get the third one to match this one, and I have the second one. And it's really angsty, like YA romance, but sort of set in I think it's Victorian times. So that's it's a little bit different, but like it's sort of like a guilty pleasure. It's like something that I'll read sometimes. So yeah. Now the next stack of books is a stack of books where I've heard a lot of good things about all of them. Most of them are trilogies, and I'd like to start and finish them all in one go. So the first one, the 5th season, N.K. Jemisin, it's sort of like I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but like post-apocalyptic. It's the world's falling apart, there's people being, you know, discriminated against and killed, so it's got all the hallmarks of like a post-apocalyptic sort of world, but I've heard that it's told in a really unique way, and that once you start and then finish book 1, you just want to keep going all the way through to the end to sort of get your answers, and I'm really looking forward to that sort of aspect of it. The next one is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I've heard a lot of good things from one of the people I watch on BookTube. I've forgotten her name now. But she has said a lot of good things about this. It's apparently really weird. Apparently you can't get it in the US, but luckily for me, in the UK, it's quite simple just to go down to Waterstones and pick it up. So that one, I'm excited to see if I like the first one. And then I'll probably have to pop to Waterstones and just pick up the next two. The next one is Jade City, the Greenbone Saga. It's sort of like a mafia urban fantasy where Jade gives people magical powers and the market's flooded with it. I've heard that each book sort of has time skips, and so you get like a lot of actions have consequences and generational knock-on effects, and I'm really excited about that because I've not really seen many books with that in it. Again, I've heard that it's fast-paced and you get really attached to the characters. The next book is one of the most beautiful books. Now, if you look up the US covers for this, they're like black and there's a skull on the cover, and when I first saw them I didn't realise they were part of the same series, and then when I found out they were the same books, I was like, oh, those two give very different tones, and I'm interested to see the book that produces such different covers. I actually don't know much about this other than I've heard a lot of really good things about it, so I'm really excited to see what this one is about. Next one, Senna Ascends, part of the Books of Babel. There are 4 books. I've heard it's really weird. It's quite literary in its sort of way it's told. It's got a big focus on like language, and I've heard that it's good. That's why that's why I'm reading all these books. It's because I've heard they're good, and I feel like it might be something I'm gonna enjoy. So I'm just gonna pick them up, see if I like them, and then just continue on. The last book on my series that I want to start and finish is Ship of Magic. So it's a trilogy that's part of a bigger 16-book series, The Realm of the Elderlings. So I am going to commit to just this trilogy, because if you see it, this one book is like 900 pages. So I'm like, okay, let's just commit to the trilogy, because then I know it's sort of, you can read that trilogy and then you can read the next trilogy. And I don't want to overburden myself with series, because I know I definitely did that in 2022. Saying that, if I have time, I'd like to start the Malazan books. And I know that these are huge. This one, it's a mass market paperback. It's still big, but the other books get bigger. I know there's one on my shelf and it's like 1,200 pages, and I'm like, how on earth can someone just read that whole series just in one go? I feel like it's gonna be long, but I know that it will be exciting. I'm just like surrounded by books, and I'm like, this is a lot of books already, not including the sequels, like the book 2s, 3s, 4s, stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I can finish the year of 2023 with less ongoing series than I start with. I will have to let you know January 1st, when I do my TBR, how many series I'm starting off with. And I will let you know how many series I'm already caught up, if there's series that have books coming out, stuff like that. And then it will be a nice sort of stat to see how many series did I start, how many did I finish. And I hope that you guys are also reading a lot of good series, and if there are any that you would recommend. Possibly finished series, because there is already the Game of Thrones and the King Color Chronicles, and what other series like Stormlight Archives, which I actually do need to get to too. Happy reading!